What was your wrong place in the wrong time situation? I walked into my living room while my parents were ordering and my headphones died. So all you hear in the room is we didn't start the fire. I was invited to go with a friend to a dinner party that included about a dozen people I didn't know, except for my friend. The couple hosting the dinner party got into a terrible fight and started throwing food at each other. Some of the other people joined in, and food was flying everywhere. Only safe place was inside the bathroom with the door locked, which is where I stayed until the food fight was over. Close bracket. I was watching a WW2 documentary at work, and it switched to a Hitler speech for context. A customer walked in, and as he's putting his stuff on the counter and I'm ringing it out, it's still just pure Hitler speech. It got so uncomfortable I had to say to him, this is just a documentary by the way. He probably thought I was a crazed fascist for a second. That's like the time I was watching The Sopranos and hear my roommate walk into the common room as a guy stealing a bike back. As he opens the door to our bedroom. Sex scene. Fortunately he and his FWB were understanding about what I was watching. You mean? Oh. Fuck. I was at an abandoned restaurant in Orange, NJ. I did environmental work. And it was a sugar hole. Gordon Ramsay would not even bother. I was in the basement. In about 2 feet of water. Very happy the electricity was off. And there was a shootout. Right outside the building. Had nothing to do with me. But was not a fun situation. I forgot my wallet when taking the train on one of the rare days they were checking passes at my stop. My phone also died just before getting stopped. They tried looking me up in their system and couldn't find me, so they assumed I was someone by the same name. I have an uncommon name, so that's weird, and wouldn't believe I was W. Howlett. I said I was. I had to wait 2 hours for actual police to come. W. Harlot confirmed I existed, and I finally got my ticket. It was stressful. Sfull. I was 2 hours late for work and couldn't even call. Then had to go to the courthouse to show I did have a bus pass to get it thrown out. Bad day. Needless to say, I've been hyper focused on making sure I have everything on me all the time ever since. That's a huge damn fuss over $1 or $2. Me and my bud finally beat this difficult level we were stuck on. Don't remember the game lol. Then he yells, "We're all whores!" Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. And his mom walks and goes, "We're all what?" Exclamation mark. Question mark. Yeah. That's last I go to his house. Walked into a drug deal behind my favorite Italian place. The woman was apparently short a few dollars and immediately started to rattle off an excuse for me to give her money. I think she used the "my brother needs gas money" excuse, gesturing to the drug dealer. W. Howlett was holding both a gun and a white-filled bay. GGY. I said I didn't have cash and to have a nice day. Got into the car with my mom and fucking booked it. Also having a couple very loudly argue about the boyfriend texting his ex while having dinner at my old job. She had dragged his sorry ass into the stairway above me where I heard everything. I could see the two over the railing and the girl made eye contact with me over said railing while she was red-faced angry and suddenly realized she was threatening this dude in a public place where there was a line of people waiting to sit down and 2 workers just watching them. It was something to listen to other than dad rock, so it wasn't all bad, but still yikes. I used to work as an assistant housing inspector at a university apartment complex and, upon arriving at work one morning, noticed police tape across certain paths and a sheriff's deputy outside my building allowing necessary personnel in and turning away anyone whom didn't need to be there. When asked about what was going on, all the deputy said was, "There was an accident," and let me in. My office was on the 1st floor, and when I got in, I noticed my boss was not there. I called to ask why, and he said that there was a suicide in the building and they were not letting him in for some reason. He also told me not to open the curtains in our office, which I found odd. After 20 minutes of waiting, my curiosity got the best of me, and I peeked through the back curtains. Lying not 10 feet from our window was the body of a half-naked man, and his face was staring right at me. The story is that, after finding out that he was going to be kicked out of his PhD program, rather than face his family, he decided to jump from the 7th story of our building and end his life. This was early 2000s. Holocaust Museum in DC and the cigar bag's phone rang. I kid you not, his ringtone was the song Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. Now you're going to say he was trolling. But I would swear he wasn't. What's for sure is he was stabbed through the heart with a million of the worst glares glareable, and he may not have survived. I was just walking through the woods on a very windy day and suddenly a loud creaking sound began. That sound slowly became louder and transformed into cracking. I look up to see a tree sideways and falling almost right above me. It was still attached to where it was breaking off from, so I had enough time to put a wall of trees in between me and the falling tree. Luckily the tree twisted where it was breaking, so its trajectory was completely changed, but hot damn, you don't wanna look up and see a sideways tree falling through the canopy directly above you. Christmas dinner. My grandmother, aunt, uncle, their respective spouses, and kids live in the same yard, different houses. I get a stuffed giraffe. Super cute. My cousins got a red pickup truck and a green dump truck. Everybody is happy. God knows why my father decided to say pickup was supposed to be given for cousin A and dump truck for cousin B, but they accidentally swapped. Their mothers demanded their kids to give back the gifts, even they were happy with what they got. Boys started crying. Uncle started arguing with his wife. My cousin, one of the boys' older sister, started crying too. Everything was awkward. I was at the food court in a mall getting an order of fries. The way it was set up was you ordered, then moved down to your far left to wait for your order. So the man in front of me and their kid ordered their food and moved to the side, as did I, and same with the guy behind me. So now I'm in between these two people. The kid passes a phone to his dad and says he saw the guy behind me drop the phone. So he gets his attention and explains his son saw him drop his phone and gives it back to him. Well, he immediately accused the kid of stealing his phone and pulls out a knife on the father and the kid, all while I'm awkwardly standing between them. Deer in headlights kind of thing. While they continue to scream at each other now. My friend I'm at the mall with is yelling at me to get out of there before I get stabbed for being in the way, and all I could get out of my mouth was, "But my fries. I'm not going to just leave without them." Then mall security showed up and hauled him away, and I got my fries without being stabbed. I ended up stranded at my old job, a warehouse in the middle of nowhere. Didn't have money for an Uber. 40 plus miles from home. A guy that I thought I worked with, it was a huge warehouse, offered to give me a ride home. I was desperate and didn't know anyone, so I agreed. He told me he had to make a few stops first. I told him the town, but not the exact area. Thank God. Close bracket. He started making stops where people would briefly pop into the backseat of his car and he'd hand them off something. I asked at one point, and he said, "I deal drugs." Nervously, I asked, "Oh, weed?" And he got the biggest grin and replied, "You ever heard of crack?" Apostrophe. So, here we are. 40 miles from where I'm staying, where I know no one. There's a crack dealer whose car I'm now stuck in, and he has a gun on his hip just in case. He's a big burly dude, and I'm a 21-year-old girl at this point. 5 feet 0 and about 110 pounds. Living out of a motel because I was homeless and no family or friends within 2,000 miles. My heart was pounding and I was shaking like crazy, but I was trying to hide it. Lied and said I lived in an apartment complex 5 miles from where I really lived. Before dropping me off, he said I owed him a favor. I just nodded, walked behind the building until he drove off, and then ran like hell back to the motel. Power outage in my dorm. Stumbling around in the dark and bump into the back of my buddy's girlfriend. My hands grab at anything to prevent my fall, the anything being her large, luscious breasts. Just that second the power came back. The one day I forgot my wallet. Dropping my girlfriend off at home, I get pulled over for driving what was apparently suspiciously slow in a residential area. Safety doesn't pay, guys. You do. When me and my boyfriend were having some sexy times and my niece tried to get in my room. Never ran to the door so fast in my life. Luckily she didn't get in and see anything. Close bracket. I had a guy run up to me at the bus stop on a Saturday night. He grabbed me in a bear hug. Then he tried to drag me off somewhere saying, come to this way with me. Come on. Apostrophe. I keep saying no thank you. Please let go. While struggling to get out of his grip. The bus stop was full of people and no one helped me. My friend and his friends plus me were playing tag and my friend did the monkey bars and jumped off, fell and scratched his knee like bad. Really bad, and I tagged him. It looked like I pushed him, but he fell on wood chips, so it looked like he cheese grated his knee. Grew up poor. My room in the summer was always hot as shit. Parents' room had like 3 box fans in it, so me being a 6-year-old kid walked into my parents' room and sleep with them. They weren't sleeping at all. Ultimately slept on the floor in their room. I was still hot. I was sitting in the lunchroom eating lunch when a metal beam fell from the ceiling and hit me on the head. A bank was robbed by someone with the same car as mine. I was pulled over, figured I was speeding, or hit a yellow light turned red, and then the cops came up on either side of the car with their guns drawn and searched my groceries and didn't even apologize. It was a while ago. My family was on a Christmas trip to London to visit family for Christmas. We had just arrived at the house and I went straight to bed. 10 hours on a plane will do that to ya. I woke up, tired, and checked my watch, which said 6:35 am. Okay, I thought to myself, it's semi-reasonable to get up at this time. So I got up and drew on the couch until my aunt woke up and was like, "What are you doing down here at this time?" Turns out it was 1:35 am. When I was in basic training for the army, my drill sergeant sent me and a buddy over to a neighboring company's office to pick up something from their co. That whole company was out in their yard doing some kind of drill, and apparently someone fucked up and pissed off their DS, because as my buddy and I were leaving, we hear "Get down and give me push-ups, everyone, right now." Apostrophe. Now, we had never been to this company before and had never met any of these people, but that DS did not give one fuck. We pushed with the rest of those assholes till he was satisfied. When we got back to our barracks, we got reamed by our DS for taking too long on a simple task. A few years ago, I took the train to my job as usual, and next thing I knew the police entered in the cart, guns in hand, and arrested the guy sitting right in front of me. One time I was watching TV in my dad's room, and he was in the bathroom and his phone went off, so I went to check it, and it was my mom saying stuff along the lines of "I want to suck that big hard ass off yours," and she was sending nasty pictures for me but not nasty to my dad. My girlfriend was talking about how she was planning on kissing me for the first time when I walked over to her. I pretended I didn't hear, but she chickened out anyway. Edit. I'm fine with it. Consent is more important. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.